So 38 magistrate courts across the country were investigated by the Public Protector's Office for the lack of support that they give gender-based violence victims. The investigation emanates from the request made by the Deputy Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, John Jeffery, on the 18th of June 2020 for the Public Protector to look into allegations of a particular victim, Altecia Kortje, who approached the Bellville Magistrates Court to apply for a protection order but was turned away by the court. Let's now unpack the Public Protector's findings with the Executive Director of People Opposing Women Abuse, Thoko Budaza, who's joining us in studio. Thoko, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for making time for us. Does it come as a surprise at all what the Public Protector has found here?
No, it is not a surprise at all. And I'm like, as everything that happens with gender-based violence, a reaction, somebody must die for somebody to do something about gender-based violence in this country, you know. So again, this report is coming at the hands of a dead woman and her child and her daughter, who had sought thingy. As much as they said that the findings are not matching there, but they just the fact that the movement happened because somebody had died or a woman had died, let me put it that way.
Yeah, and here's the other thing about this is that the complaint was lodged in 2020. It's 4 years later that we find the report. Why has it taken this long? Are those type of questions that you grapple with at all as an organization? Sure, the intention behind it is good, but why has it taken this long?
That's what I'm saying, is that it takes a long time in this country for a response to gender-based violence issue. Even though gender-based violence, as we know, is a pandemic, and even the president had said so, but it takes such a long time. It takes a lot of women to die. It takes a lot of bad things to happen before somebody can listen. You understand? Yep. And it takes high-profile cases. We can talk about Ms. Kortje, which I'm very sad about her death. But on that day, you'll find that how many women who went for protection orders didn't get them and died too. Yeah. But because there was no report. And so everything is taken. So even the 4, I'm not surprised by the 4 years. It's not even surprising. That's how gender-based violence is treated in this country.
The report is segmented into various aspects, looking at the courts. I know the focus tends to be more on the courts, but also looking at SAPS and also the Department of Social Development. I quickly want to go to the Public Protector's findings when it comes to the police. She says here, there are challenges experienced by victims when they engage SAPS for services of interim protection orders. The evidence further indicates that the applicants are often left on their own to serve the respondents. So this means that you are a victim of gender-based violence, then you must go and serve the papers on the perpetrator yourself.
Exactly. We're not surprised. So what POA does, we've got a program which we call Victim and Company, and we accompany victims to the courts. We also run friendly, you would see that the Public Protector talks about that, victim-friendly rooms. And these victim-friendly rooms are for when a woman, when she comes and she's been raped, she's been battered or she's been bruised, we can at least contain her before she's re-victimized by the police, because we know that the police re-victimize. It's not supposed to work that way, but we can't be in every police station, but it's not supposed to work that way. That is shocking, and that is an absolute like a shock. But I'll even say, when we move again into the court, where we need victim-friendly rooms, even in the court, we sit with our survivors in the corridors, you know, because there's not adequate, as we said, not adequate rooms, no victim rooms, no nothing. And then there is the rapist of that woman. While I am here to accompany her in order for her to, you know, to access justice, but the rapist is sitting there making snide remarks, looking at her, intimidating her. How do you think she's going to handle that case when she gets into the thing? And we're talking about a country where, in any case, even the little that we're asking for, when we're asking for the protection orders, we still die with protection orders in our hands. We still die with protection orders in our hands. So the least they could do is give us those protection orders.
You speak about the victim-friendly rooms. The Public Protector's Office again finds that some police stations don't have these victim-friendly rooms. I thought that SAPS would have a norm and standards like we have with basic education, that when it comes to the infrastructure, this is the type of infrastructure that is required. This is the type of resources that are required as well. Why is it that SAPS don't have a norms and standards when it comes to GBV?
They don't. I think I would also blame another process, that there's a process called the National Strategic Plan that took years and years and years we finally got it in 2018 as well. It does put these norms and standards for those players, but SAPS, even when you approach them, some captain says, this is my police station, we don't want you here, we don't want you to come here and disturb us. You understand what I mean? So even us, those relationships we've had to build, but victim-friendly rooms have been found to be the best case study. You understand? It is something that is needed.
Yeah.
Especially for gender-based violence. I mean, come on, you are raped or you have been beaten, you need hospital, or you're afraid of a man, or and then there you are, you're faced by this person.
Yeah, and sometimes even the medical details are not being taken down by the investigators.
Yes, unless you go to the Tutuzela care centers.
Yeah.
So we were happy last week when Ramaphosa signed the bill, you know, which maybe should address some of the issues that are there. But I think what also, Edwin, that I want to point to is that we've been asking, it's time for technology. Still, dockets disappear. You see in that report where they say they found the dockets and files on the ground in other courts. And that's what we're faced with. Sometimes when I go with a victim, I'm told to go bend there and look for that record.
What?
I'm told to go and bend and look for the records and bend where the records are scattered to find my victim's record.
So it says here that the court users experience unnecessary delays in receiving services due to the lack of availability of tools of trade such as photocopiers, scanners, computers for court officials. This is in conflict of provision section 5 subsection 1D, which imposes the obligation for immovable assets to be kept operational to function in a manner that supports efficient service delivery. Exactly.
That's what I'm talking about. Why aren't we moving to an electronic system? We are a country. We are, when we talk in terms of South Africa, we are advanced in the African space. You know, why aren't we moving into an electronic space? And it can be done. It's just that they don't want to do it.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember the total shutdown summit of 2018.
Yes, I was there.
You were there.
That's where I was. That's the path of the National Strategic Plan.
Yeah. Do you remember the lady who was standing in front of the president who took off her clothes and showed the president her scars?
Yes. And what I remember, I don't remember the minister was next to the president, you know, but I remember that I was there.
Yeah. How do you think she would feel right now?
To be honest, she would feel exactly the same way that she feels right now, because things are still the same as when she decided to take that stance and open her body up for everybody to see with all her scars. And when gender-based violence has not been dealt with in the country and still continues to be dealt with in this manner, she still feels the way, same way. She's dejected.
Her name, by the way, is Pindile Ngube. Yesterday we found out that actually she had passed on. I remember interviewing Pindile, and Pindile was complaining that after her perpetrators were released, she was in Tembisa, living in Tembisa. She was forced to come into contact with them. She would speak about, you know, Aldrin, I didn't have places where I could go and avoid these men. I would go to a shopping mall, and there they are. How am I supposed to survive? Again, the pressure then becomes on the victim, that it must be the victim who must find a place and leave that particular area.
Yes, and I want to talk about DSD because they are implicated in this.
Yeah.
And I want to also bring you another shocking incident. I think you've already covered that there's a crisis with the NPO sector where DSD is not funding. We even took them to court where they have not yet funded shelters, you know. And at POA, I am sitting with 2 shelters that can house 157, in fact, women and their children. Those shelters are standing empty. Now, I'm talking to you now, they're empty. Because DSD hasn't funded.
And this is the provincial?
Sorry?
DSD provincial? Gauteng?
Yeah, Gauteng.
Yeah.
Mbali, yeah. And then the other day, I got called by DSD because another shelter was closing. They wanted us to give us the car and the Wendy house that was coming from that shelter. And I was like, how do you accept that the shelter would close? It was even bittersweet for me to even accept these things that are coming from a shelters that we need. So that's another damning, and the protector, the public protector, talks about that as well.
Yeah, there was a fund that was set up by the president from the corporate sector, where the corporate sector is coming together to raise funds to try and tackle gender-based violence. Do you know about that fund? Yes,
I know. We actually, strange enough, we received a little bit of money yesterday from them, and we're very grateful for that. But with that money, usually and it's a nice thing that they're doing, we want to accommodate even the CBO on the ground, the mama on the ground who takes care of, you know, orphans and protects them against violence, sexual violence and all of that. So we are aware of that funding, and that funding is helping, and we like that funding goes to grassroots, big organizations like POA. Yes, they do get their stake, you know, but I think I like that it's concentrated on, because these things, they don't happen in...
But government must come to the party as well.
They must, and they are part of the NSP. All of them, they must come to the party. Every police station must have victim-friendly room. Even courtrooms must have victim-friendly rooms, even the courts. Yeah. And the filing system, that's even today. Hi, Bo.
Sister Thoko, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Hopefully there will be some change that comes after this report from the public protector. Thoko Budaza is the Executive Director for People Opposing Women Abuse.